Right now, you probably know exactly what time it is. You can check your phone, your watch, the clock on your wall. Time surrounds you completely. But for most of human history, nobody knew what time it was. Not even roughly. And yet, every civilization in history needed to answer the same question. What time is it? When should we plant? When should we worship? When should we sleep? When should we fight? The story of how humanity answered that question changed everything. The very first clock was not invented, it was noticed. About 5,000 years ago, humans in ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt realized something simple. The shadow of a stick moves, and it moves the same way every single day. The sundial was born. Ancient Egyptians placed tall stone obelisks in public squares. The shadow of the obelisk moved slowly across markings in the ground below. Different positions meant different times of day. For the first time in history, a civilization could divide the day into measurable pieces. But the sundial had a problem, a big problem. It only worked in sunlight. At night, it was useless. On cloudy days, it was useless. Inside buildings, completely useless. Humanity needed something else, something that measured time, without depending on the sky. Around 1500 BC, Egyptian engineers had a new idea. Water. They built a vessel with a small hole in the bottom. Water dripped through at a steady, predictable rate. Markings on the inside of the vessel showed how much time had passed as the water level fell. They called it the clepsydra, the water clock. The water clock spread across the ancient world. Greeks used it to time legal speeches in court. Lawyers were given a fixed amount of water. When the water ran out, their time was up. The phrase, "Your time is up," may have literally come from this moment. Meanwhile, in China, engineers were experimenting with something different. Sand. The hourglass, or sand clock, used the same principle as the water clock. But sand was more predictable than water. It did not freeze in winter. It did not evaporate in summer. The hourglass became one of the most reliable, time-measuring tools in the ancient world. For thousands of years, these were the tools humanity used to measure time. Sundials, water clocks, hourglasses. All of them had limitations, becoming inaccurate over hours. The world was waiting for something completely new, something mechanical. In medieval Europe, Christian monasteries needed to know the exact time for their daily prayers. Monks prayed at fixed hours, 7 times every day. Missing the right moment was considered a sin against God. The need for precise timekeeping was not just practical, it was spiritual. Around 1280 AD, in Italy and England, something extraordinary appeared: the first mechanical clock. It used a falling weight, connected to a series of gears and wheels, to release energy in controlled, regular beats. Each beat moved the gears forward by exactly 1 step. Tick, tick, tick. This mechanism was called the escapement. It was the heartbeat of every clock. For the next 700 years, church towers across Europe began installing mechanical clocks. For the first time, entire cities could share the same time. Church bells rang on the hour, and everyone in the city heard them. But these early mechanical clocks were massive. They filled entire rooms. They required constant winding and adjustment. And they were wildly inaccurate, sometimes gaining or losing 15 to 30 minutes per day. For a monastery or a city square, this was acceptable. But humanity needed better. In 1582, the Italian scientist Galileo Galilei was sitting in a cathedral in Pisa. He watched a lamp swinging on a long chain, swinging back and forth, in the draught from the open doors. And he noticed something remarkable. No matter how wide or small the swing, the lamp always took the same time to complete one full swing. This was the pendulum principle. A swinging weight of fixed length always takes exactly the same time to complete one swing. Galileo realized immediately that this could be the perfect heartbeat for a clock, far more accurate than any gear mechanism yet invented. He designed a pendulum clock, but died before building it. In 1656, a Dutch scientist named Christian Huygens built the first working pendulum clock. The result was astonishing. Previous mechanical clocks lost up to 30 minutes per day. Huygens's pendulum clock lost less than 1 minute per day. Accuracy had improved by 30 times in a single invention. The pendulum clock changed civilization. Factories could now run on precise schedules. Courts could record exact times of events. Scientists could measure experiments down to fractions of minutes. Time was becoming something that humans could truly control. But there was still one enormous problem. The pendulum clock could not move. A pendulum clock needed to stand perfectly still. Any motion disrupted the swing. A ship rocking on the ocean made a pendulum clock completely useless. And this was a matter of life and death. Ships at sea could calculate their latitude by measuring the sun's height. But calculating longitude required knowing the exact time. Ships were getting lost. Ships were crashing into unknown coastlines. Thousands of sailors were dying because nobody could tell precise longitude at sea. In 1714, the British Parliament offered a prize worth £20,000, the equivalent of millions today, to anyone who could solve the longitude problem. For decades, the greatest scientists in Europe tried to solve this problem. Isaac Newton, Edmund Halley, all believed the answer lay in astronomy. None of them solved it. The solution came from an unexpected place. A self-taught carpenter and clockmaker from a small village in Yorkshire, England. His name was John Harrison. Harrison spent 40 years building and perfecting a clock that could keep accurate time, even on a rocking ship in tropical heat. He called his final masterpiece the H4. It looked like a large pocket watch, beautifully crafted, brilliantly engineered. On a test voyage to Jamaica in 1761, it lost only 5 seconds in 61 days at sea. 5 seconds in 61 days. That was accuracy the world had never seen. With Harrison's chronometer, a ship could calculate its exact longitude anywhere on Earth. Navigation was transformed overnight. The age of confident global exploration began. And Harrison, the uneducated carpenter, had done what Newton could not. The Industrial Revolution made time even more important. Factory owners needed workers to arrive at precise times. Machines needed to run on exact schedules. Trains needed to depart and arrive to the minute. For the first time in history, being late had serious consequences. But railway travel created a new problem. Every city in Britain had its own local time. Bristol was 10 minutes behind London. Edinburgh was 13 minutes behind. When trains connected all these cities, the confusion was dangerous. Timetables were impossible. Crashes happened because two trains thought they had more time than they did. British Railways adopted a single standard time, Greenwich Mean Time, set by the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, London. Every clock in every British railway station was synchronized to the same time. For the first time in history, a nation shared one time. In 1884, international delegates from 25 nations met in Washington, D.C. They agreed on something historic. The entire world would be divided into 24 time zones, each zone 1 hour apart. Greenwich, London, would be the 0 point, the center of world time. Meanwhile, clocks were getting smaller and more personal. In the 1500s, German clockmaker Peter Henlein created the first portable clock, small enough to carry in a pocket. The pocket watch was born. For the next 400 years, a pocket watch was a symbol of wealth, status, and importance. Then came the First World War, and everything changed again. Soldiers in the trenches needed to coordinate attacks to the exact second. Pulling out a pocket watch while crawling through mud under enemy fire was slow, clumsy, and dangerous. Soldiers began strapping their pocket watches to their wrists. After the war, the wristwatch became fashionable. By the 1930s, wristwatches had replaced pocket watches as the standard timepiece for men and women. For the first time in history, ordinary working people could afford their own personal clock. Time was no longer just for the rich, but the greatest revolution in timekeeping was still coming. In 1955, British physicist Louis Essen built the first atomic clock. It did not use pendulums or gears. It measured the vibrations of individual cesium atoms. 9,192,731,770 vibrations per second. The atomic clock was so accurate that it would not gain or lose a single second in 300 million years. Every GPS system on Earth uses atomic clocks today. Your phone knows your exact location because somewhere an atomic clock is counting 9 billion vibrations per second without error. In 1969, the quartz wristwatch arrived. Quartz watches used vibrating quartz crystals instead of mechanical gears. They were smaller, cheaper, more accurate. A Japanese company called Seiko released the first quartz watch, and within 10 years, the entire Swiss mechanical watch industry nearly collapsed. It was called the quartz crisis. Today, the clock is everywhere. On your phone, on your microwave, on your car dashboard, on every computer, on every traffic light. You are never more than a few feet from something telling you the exact time. We have so much time information that we barely notice it anymore. But think about what changed when humans learned to measure time. Before precise clocks, people worked from sunrise to sunset. They slept when it was dark. They ate when they were hungry. Time was natural, organic, human. After precise clocks, life was divided into hours, minutes, and seconds. The world became scheduled. Historians have argued that the mechanical clock was the most important invention of the medieval age. More important than the printing press, more important than gunpowder, because without precise time, there is no modern science, no modern navigation, no modern industry, no internet, no GPS, no civilization as we know it. The ancient Egyptians divided the day into 24 hours. We still use that division today, 5,000 years later. Mesopotamian mathematicians divided the hour into 60 minutes. We still use that today. They divided the minute into 60 seconds. We still use that today. 2. The units of time we use every day are ancient inventions that never needed to be improved. And yet, for all our precision, time still holds mysteries we cannot solve. What exactly is time? Is it a river that flows? A dimension we move through? Something that exists, even when nobody is measuring it? The greatest physicists in history, from Newton to Einstein, have debated this question. None of them fully answered it. Einstein showed us that time is not fixed. Time moves faster. At high altitudes, time slows down. Near massive objects like black holes, if you travel close to the speed of light, time almost stops for you, while the rest of the universe ages normally. Time is stranger than any clock can show. From a stick casting a shadow in desert sand, to atomic clocks counting 9 billion vibrations per second. From monks praying by moonlight, to GPS satellites guiding you through unknown cities. From John Harrison's carpenter hands, building a clock that saved 1,000 sailors, to Einstein's equations, showing that time itself bends and stretches. Humanity spent 10,000 years learning to measure something we still do not fully understand. The clock did not just measure time. The clock created time, as humans experience it. Before the clock, time was the sun, the moon, and the seasons. After the clock, time was something we owned, something we saved, spent, wasted, and lost. We gave time the power to tell us what to do, and in doing so, we changed what it meant to be human. Thank you for watching this story on Storia English. If you enjoyed learning English through this story, please subscribe to Storia English. Every week we bring you a new story from history, told in clear, slow, simple English, so you can improve your listening, vocabulary, and confidence, naturally, without stress. We will see you in the next story.